Indiana Basketball Weekly on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The Indiana Basketball Weekly show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I want to welcome in my co-host, former Indiana Hoosier, national champion in 1981, Steve Risley.
Mike, how you doing today?
I was doing pretty good until the last 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I would say the nails are being driven into the coffin as we speak. I will say this, though. I thought the Ohio State cheerleaders looked good and did a nice job.
Okay.
I thought they were organized. They were sharp. They were crisp. Their chants were precise. They were communicating well to each other. And I thought that was a highlight for the game for me.
Yeah, they were unselfish.
They were very unselfish. They were very unselfish.
Well, you look at the game. Ohio State wins the game 71-56. Two things stand out right away. Field goal percentage, Ohio State 56%, Indiana 36%, and rebounds. Total rebounds 39-26. Indiana got destroyed on the boards. They couldn't shoot the ball to save their lives. It was just a bad night, except for the emergence, and hopefully this is something that will be consistent from here on out, of Devontae Green.
And do you see why I said I thought the Ohio State cheerleaders had a good night?
Well, Devontae Green had a good night.
Devontae Green had a good night. It's just the makeup of this basketball club, and you get them sometime, and decimated by losing kids from coaching transfers and leaving the program early to go find their fame and fortune. It didn't leave Indiana or Miller with a lot. I still don't think the talent is the major problem of this basketball club. I think they have some depth issues, but I think we haven't given our second unit enough time to develop or an opportunity to develop. You're right. I mean, we get crushed on the board. Now, the difference between this game and the Michigan State game is we were in the Michigan State game until 90 seconds to go in the game, I felt. We were never in this game. I mean, they came out and just took charge of us immediately, went on a 10-point run early, and we never even remotely mounted any kind of effort to come back. I know we got the score close, but that was more attributable to Ohio State subbing players in and lessening their talent on the floor than us, and the emergence of Devontae Green coming through and making some clutch plays for us. But it's such a different game than the Michigan State game. We had a chance to win the Michigan State game. We came here, and it just befuddles me that this team doesn't understand the concept of having your back against the wall, about playing for pride, playing for anything, setting any kind of conceptual team goals, and executing toward meeting those. I'm sure they're setting goals in the locker room, but they're just doing nothing to execute toward it. Leadership, once again, and I'm a leadership kind of guy. I believe that you have to great programs identify leaders, and then they have those leaders delegate, and you use delegation, and everybody plays a vital role. But you have to have leadership, and you have to have peer leadership. This team has no peer leadership. Morgan doesn't score until 8 minutes to go in the game. Literally, he doesn't put a point on the board until 8 minutes to go in the game. He's your second-leading scorer on the team. He's your spiritual, alleged point guard, should be the mental leader of this ball club, a good basketball player, and just provides you nothing, zero across the board until 8 minutes to go in the game. And then he finally puts a bucket in and ends up with 2 points for the night. His one contribution was a bucket with 7:53 to go in the game. I marked it down. That was it. That was his contribution. 4 assists, I guess, where those came from. I did, whatever. I guess he did. Shooting wise, he's 1 of 6 from the field goal, 0 for 2 from 3-point line. You're not going to survive with that kind of play.
Well, especially when you combine it. Newkirk did absolutely nothing. And
Newkirk did nothing, yeah.
Yeah, and Devontae Green played great. And the thing is this, he pretty much got benched because of the end of the Illinois game, I think, as a guess.
Which I scolded people from that from the very beginning. I said the kid did everything right. except he just didn't complete the pass. You don't bench a kid for that.
But wait a second, Steve. Steve, this is my point. He didn't make the play. They sat him, they bring him back, and he played great. We've never seen that done with either one of the senior guards, Johnson or Newkirk. Well, we've seen it with Newkirk a little bit, and he did come back and play better from it. But for some reason, Johnson's allowed to run rampant, play however he wants. He was benched tonight after a stupid play early in the game, but they bring him back in, and I just think right now, if you told me you had to start a team next year and you could have any three guys off of this team back, I would take McRoberts, Green, and McSwain. And the reason is this. When I watch them play, they bust their asses. And the other thing that I kept track of tonight, because I'm a big hustle guy too, and I remember watching Larry Bird when I was younger, watching your Indiana teams, and how many times guys were on the floor for balls. Those three guys are the only three that I saw get down on the ground to try to come up with the ball.
Right. Yeah, these are my feelings. Number one, I'm not going to beat up on Archie Miller yet. I'm not going to do it. I think that this is a transition year for him. I think he gets a free pass this year to, we don't understand him well enough to know what his mentality is, because I don't want to sit here and start ripping him and then he wins his last 4 games because everything started to fall into place what he's been trying to work on all season. I'm not at practice. You're not at practice. We don't know what's going on. Now, that being said, I live by the theory that the definition of insanity, it's the old saying, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I think up until tonight that I know I did, I had a strong belief that we still could make the dance. Now, we still can make the dance, but pretty much now we have to win the Big Ten tournament for us to make the dance. So that's the only way we're probably really going to effectively get in there now, unless we somehow miraculously would win every game from here on out, and then we would be a bubble team probably at best. So, but I think right now, in terms of what you were alluding to, the new season, as far as I'm concerned, starts tomorrow morning in practice. And I think you need to make wholesale changes. You need to start playing kids for next year. And I think you're right. Green and the kids, the kids that are underclassmen that are showing flashes of brilliance along with flashes of stupidity. The only way you're going to cure stupidity is to give them exposure. You're not going to cure their stupidity unless you don't let them play. And, I think right now you have to start thinking about just writing off Johnson and Newkirk and saying, guys, we'll get you minutes, but you're not factoring in to what we're doing the rest of this year now, and you're not going to factor into it at all to what we're doing next year because you aren't going to be here. So your minutes are going to be cut, and we're going to start doling up your minutes more with the young guys and getting them to cure some of their stupid plays and stupid mistakes that they make so we don't get back into the situation again next year.
Yeah, and I just think with this team, I really do believe they've gotten better. There's just, if you can't shoot the ball, you're not going to win the games.
50% again on free throws. Give me a break. Are you kidding me? And now I've got to believe Archie's doing something in practice to try and alleviate the free throw situation. You see it. I see it. Stevie Wonder sees it. Helen Keller sees it. Okay? So I know he's seeing it, but it's just not translating. Nothing I think that what Archie's trying to do is translating to the court. And it's got to translate through Newkirk and Johnson. And it's not, there's a brick wall there that it's not translating at all. And basically, they basically rendered Morgan useless tonight too. Morgan only scores 15 points. He can't be a one-man show every night. It gets too easy to guard. I mean, if you've got your point guard, your second leading scoring team not putting a ball in the bucket until 8 minutes to go in the game, where it's basically a meaningless bucket. Okay, now, I heard Doc is in the commentary saying, hey, look, Holson's challenging the other guys to shoot. He's not even guarding them. He's just double teaming Morgan. And, so I'm not going to second guess him. I think he's our coach of the future. It is very disheartening to see what Holtzman has done at Ohio State. Now, granted, I still think he had a little bit more to work with.
He's got a lot more to work with, Steve, I think.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to be polite. But I just think that we have had plenty of opportunities to win games that we just have not won. It's not like we've been out of every game and we're just haplessly inept to the point to where we don't compete in the Big Ten this year. We had every opportunity to compete in the Big Ten this year, to make a mark, to play ourselves into the tournament, and to put down a piece of dirt or a piece of a sign in our front yard that says, watch us next year, because Indiana's coming to play all the time next year. We're learning, and we just never, ever took the step toward that. We took the step toward getting better, toward improving. We've seen some emergence of players coming out when they're given the opportunity. I think right now it's just the opportunity just to make some changes in your playing personnel and don't give up on this year, because there is a Big Ten tournament, but you have to start developing some of your young talent now for next year. And then we get into the situation of Romeo Langford. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. In my book, Romeo Langford is a one-year player. Maybe 2 years, but I doubt it based on the hype I'm hearing about this kid. Now, this kid's thinking, all right, if I'm only going to play 1 year, I want to crack at the national championship. I want to crack at the tournament. You got to be looking at Indiana right now and wondering, they're going to be scrambling to try and make the dance next year if they don't get Langford.
Yeah, but the same thing with Vanderbilt. And those are supposed to be his two
final
choices.
Well, okay, so I don't get the Vanderbilt connection. I don't understand I don't know what the tie is to Vanderbilt. I mean, there's something there, and I've heard Langford's a smart, intelligent kid, and, comes from a good, strong family. So I don't have no idea. All I know is about what Indiana is. But right now, if I'm Langford, I'm really looking at my future, where I'm going to get exposure, where I'm going to get a higher draft pick because I'm on a team that's going to be playing late into March. And I don't see Indiana as being that team right now. I see us as definitely getting better and probably being a shoe-in for the dance next year. But are we going to be in national championship contenders? No. I don't know. We wouldn't be anyway, even Langford, I don't think. But this kid's going to be looking at his own future going, okay, I'm here 1, maybe 2 years. I'm positioning myself right now to get the highest possible opportunity I can to be drafted high. Because the higher I get drafted, the more money I get for my family. And that's just that's the way the game works these days. Mike, you know that. You're a coach. I mean, it's not like when I played. When kids committed to playing there 4 years, got a college degree, and if they were lucky enough to get drafted, in the 10 rounds they had in the NBA draft when I played, you got drafted, you got to go to camp, you got to experience that. Then you went on with your lives. There's 2 rounds now. Langford's definitely a blue chipper. He's a all NBAer by everybody's accounts. And I think it's going to start factoring into his decision whether he wants to come here and play in a program that may or may not be a viable program next year. I
think Vanderbilt right now, to why they're in this conversation, is they've reeled in 2 of the top headliners of the 2018 class. They got a kid from Vermont Academy who is a power forward, Simasoli, and I'm not kidding. His last name is Shitu. It is Shittu. He's rated 6 in the country. And then they got Brentwood, Tennessee Academy point guard Darius Garland, who's ranked number 11. So Bryce Drew's the coach there, another Indiana connection. So all those things add up there to...
It adds up big time.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I said last couple of weeks, that this whole moniker of playing for Indiana, Kentucky, Duke, Notre Dame, UCLA, Louisville, the powerhouse basketball programs of yesterday's forlorn days, doesn't mean as much anymore because there's such parity in players that you can take a Vanderbilt and within a year now, you can build a program that would be better than Indiana's next year. And it doesn't matter what, I know we always talk about the name on the front of your jerseys more important, and it is, but it doesn't matter what color your uniforms are. You can still build those teams in any style and color uniform you want to, whether it's Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, what. It doesn't matter. We can get those same 6 kids to play together at Vanderbilt and go there. And you know what? At Vanderbilt, they're probably a little bit more under the radar screen until they start winning everything. Where it becomes to Indiana, the weight on its shoulders is bigger and stronger. And Indiana, frankly, just doesn't carry the prestige it used to carry. I'm just going to go out and say that. It just does not carry the prestige that it used to carry. You know, when you talk top programs, Indiana was always one of the first 3 teams mentioned. And now, we're a top traditional basketball program. But everything we've done kind of ended after 1987 in terms of really building on that tradition. And it hasn't come back since, and we're pushing 30 years of that now.
Yeah, and I think the one thing Langford could do to help that, I understand what you're saying about the one-and-done possibility. Yeah. But as you said, Indiana's not a relevant college basketball power anymore.
It's not.
No matter how much we want it to be, it's just not. That's done with. Now, if you get Langford to come here, see, this is the thing. Vanderbilt's already got 2 big-time players there, and that's one of the reasons Langford's looking at going there. Indiana's got to get a player like that to be relevant again. When's the last time Indiana got a player like that?
That's a $10 question. You know, I mean, Oladipo. I mean, really, he wasn't a Romeo Langford when he came here. I mean, certainly Romeo Langford better hope he can live and fit into Oladipo's shoes the way that kid's producing in the NBA now. But that's the last great basketball out of Indiana. And really, what did they do with him? I mean, they didn't win. I don't know. I'm back to I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed as hell because we have seen opportunity after opportunity after opportunity all season long just fall to the ground with our free throw shooting.
Yeah, but I also believe this. If you have Archie Miller go to Ohio State and Holtzman come to Indiana, I think you'd probably still see about the same 2 teams out there.
I agree.
So, I mean, I don't
think it'd be much different.
Yeah, I don't think Holtzman's necessarily a better coach than Miller. He just went to a better situation. He went to a situation where Thad Matta may not be the greatest coach in the world, but he's a pretty damn good coach. And
he built the foundation. He had a foundation.
And with Matta, Matta's more of a hard-nosed guy. Crean is the exact opposite. So you're going into a situation.
Crean wanted to be liked by everybody.
Yeah, you're going into a situation.
Even if you follow Tom Crean on Twitter today, all he wants to do is be liked. Yeah. He won't say anything harsh on ESPN. He won't say anything harsh on Twitter. He's a man who just wants to be liked. And those guys rarely ever win big.
Plus, they're very rarely ever liked, too.
Really, because they don't
because you're trying to make everybody happy. Yeah. And you can't.
Right, exactly. They don't respect you. They just don't respect you. Now, again, I'm not passing any judgment on Archie Miller. I think he's our coach of our future. I think in 5 years from now, we will have forgotten that this year even existed. And I think we'll look back at you and I
this
will
year.
Be down there in press row covering that game in Indianapolis. Yeah, we will be part of it. Indiana will be part of it.
I think when we look back 5 years from now, we'll remember this season and we'll say, see, they just didn't have good enough players.
Yeah. Right. And maybe I'm overjudging our talent. Maybe I really am. But, I'm digging to find stuff to be positive about with this basketball team because the one thing Knight taught me, I cannot handle failure for lack of effort or lack of learning or lack of listening. I can understand getting beat, okay, but I can't understand losing. And right now, Indiana's just losing.
The way I take this team is this. I think this team is physically tough, but I don't think they're mentally tough.
Exactly. The leadership. It's mental toughness. We got so mentally tough when Isaiah walked into Assembly Hall. We became one of the most mentally tough basketball teams in the country. You have Knight and Isaiah in your program. These teams, I told people when I played in Indiana with Isaiah and Knight, we started every tip-off of every game 10-0. We were 10 points up just because teams were afraid of us. Yeah. The teams were just scared to death to play us because they knew we were physical, they knew we were strong. Knight scared the crap out of them. They knew they couldn't guard Isaiah. And we just were up 10-0 at the start of every game. And this team doesn't have any of those kinds of principles in them. And, this isn't on Archie Miller at this point.
Well,
I wish I'd see him a little better communication. I wish you see him just get pissed off. And just, it doesn't have to be a Bob Knight, but, you just got to. But I hope that our young kids earn some playing time. I hope Devontae definitely earns some playing time. Hope he earned a starting spot. I don't know why the kid didn't earn a starting spot tonight. What are you talking about? Newkirk, how many points is Newkirk is what? Newkirk scores nothing. So we get 2 points out of our 2 starting guards, 20 points out of our sophomore backup, who got benched for missing a pass with 8 seconds to go against Illinois, when he should never have been in that position to have to worry about that pass meaning anything against Illinois.
Yeah.
So shame on you if you don't start Green next game. Shame on you. Kids earned a chance to start and play. And he's going to make mistakes, but you know what? You coach him because he seems like the kind of kid that wants to be coached. Because like you said, he's putting it on the floor. He's going after things. He's penetrating. He's making things happen. I don't feel he feels the game's about him. And shame on the program if they don't give that kid a starting opportunity next game. Other than that, who do we play next?
Michigan State. No, not Michigan.
Michigan State again?
Michigan State, yeah. At home.
There you go. At home.
Well, right. I can tell you this, though. The 1971-72 Indiana Hoosiers, Bob Knight's first team, actually in January of that year, lost every game in the month of January in Knight's first year. They lost at Northern Illinois by double digits. They lost at Minnesota. Right. They lost Wisconsin, Ohio State, lost to Michigan State. They did end up 17-8, but, I mean, if you look the next year, they're in the Final Four. And my point is then Knight had some of his players there.
Right. But that was a team, that first team was a team going through a very steep learning curve. They're trying to learn Knight. How long did it take? Most people still haven't learned about Knight. It's 30-some-odd years later. 40 years later, they haven't learned about Knight. Yeah, but
don't you think going from Tom Crean to Archie Miller is probably a fairly big difference there? Similar?
No, I think that Crean created such an environment that those kids don't have any concept of what it is to work hard, to learn.
That's what I mean.
And to work and to improve. I don't think they have the concept of that. Crean never taught that.
Yeah.
Crean never put that into his programs where you saw improvement in the team. Usually you saw Crean's team started off ranked in the top 10, and then we're not even asked to play in the tournament by the end of the year.
Real quick, Steve, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Golden. I am the host of the Courtroom Podcast, an NBA debate show here at The Grueling Truth. And I'm here with one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money. The Grueling Truth has partnered with MyBookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And that's why The Grueling Truth urges you to check out MyBookie.ag. In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on MyBookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now, and MyBookie.ag will give you a 50% bonus on first deposit for up to $3,000 in extra playing money. Just enter promo code TGT50. That's TGT50.
All right, guys, we're back on the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show. Make sure you check out MyBookie.ag. All right, we're going to wrap this up, Steve, but the one thing that I do know that's a good thing here is when you look at the rest of the Indiana schedule, I mean, every game I think here is winnable, including Michigan State since it's here.
I agree with you entirely. I hope I still hold.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give up on him. I believe Archie Miller's a hell of a basketball coach, and I believe that he's going to get this turned around. And I think this, Steve,
I agree.
I'm not going to say they're going to make the tournament, but I think these last, 9 games left, I think they'll win at least 6 of them. I think they'll win a game in the Big Ten tournament. They'll have to play in the NIT. And I don't think with this team that's bad because that's more practice time. That's more game time. It's more experience. So overall, if you're an Indiana fan, I know it sucks that we're 12-11, but there's a lot more hope with a 12-11 here than there was 23 games into the season last year. And you got to remember what we had to deal with last year. And what you're watching right now is not a lack of effort. It's a lack of concentration, if you know what I'm saying. And this is the thing. You can fix mental problems a lot quicker than you can physical problems. And coming into this season, I think they had mental and physical problems, and that's why they were getting their ass kicked by Fort Wayne and Indiana State. They're over that part. You saw that when they played a Penn State and a Northwestern, and they went out and they handled it and they won the games. So overall, as a coach, if you're getting better each game, then you're a good coach and you're going to be fine. And this team's going to be fine.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, yes, not repeating myself. My takeaway from tonight is this. I hope that when I turn on the game against Michigan State, I see Devontae Green in the starting lineup. I think the kid's earned a chance to start and see what he can do with starting minutes and given significant minutes, and go see what he can make happen. That's the only takeaway I really have from tonight. That I hope he gets that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, because he earned it, and I think that sets a really bad example if he doesn't get the playing time the next game.
Exactly. It's like, why make the effort? I'm not going to get recognized for it anyway. That kid, I mean, we saw it happen with Mick Roberts. Mick Roberts earned his way into the starting lineup after the Notre Dame game, and he has proven to be a good decision to leave in the starting lineup. Everybody has said, and I believe this entirely, I know you do, the contributions he's made to that team are probably, and even Doc had said this on the ESPN broadcast, probably the second best player in terms of making contributions on the floor, right behind Morgan, Juwan Morgan.
All right, Steve.
And probably true. So my
see.
takeaway is I want to see Devontae Green in the starting lineup next game.
All right.
And we go from there.
Next game, Indiana, Michigan State. We will be on after that game, Steve?
What time? When's the game?
I don't know.
We will.
It's Saturday or Sunday. I think it's Saturday.
Hey.
But we'll be on after it one way or the other. Make sure you check out our Twitter page at Grueling Hoops. You can also check out our Facebook group page, The Grueling Truth. You can go on the Apple iStore and download our app, which is, of course, The Grueling Truth. So you kind of get the point. If you go look Grueling Truth on the internet, you're going to find me and Steve. You're going to find The Grueling Truth. Thursday night, we've got our Super Bowl Pick'em show, which will be myself, Matt Bryan. We got Mark Cooper, who started in Super Bowl 21 for the Denver Broncos. We got Tony Pike, who was a quarterback with the Carolina Panthers. We'll be on doing that show. Also, Thursday night, we'll have former light heavyweight champion Virgil Hill on the show, on the Boxing Legends show, so make sure you check that out also. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We will see you after the Michigan State game. For Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.